Ordinary persons without the organization decided to be here today. On WGSW West Global, we're going to make it really to reach the number one internet station on radio number one with the first to introduce the world to the platform of internet station with social media sites. So enjoy what we have for you today. I'm excited because I'm all about making it do what it do.
all the damn exciting company for your Dr. Lord today. So that introduction saying, we're going to take a little minute just trying to get some of my devices up working like they should be at 100%. Just trying to make it do what it do. We're going to take a couple minutes to get it, but we're moving. We're going to make it happen today. This is Our Voice podcast by Dr. Lowe. Really excited about coming because God has blessed us one more time. We're going into round two on that. We're so excited, but I'm truly blessed to be here before you. It's an awesome opportunity that we have on WBSW Radio, the number one internet station. I'm excited because we got a chance to share with you something that we've been focusing on for 2.5 years, 1 to 3 years, that's focusing on uh, empowering our boys to be impactful men by taking them through various topics of support, like accountability. Well, what we focus on this is empowering boys with accountability. So now you ask yourself, why should I listen to you, Doctor, on Our Voice? Think about it. Our Voice is the only internet talk radio show that advocates the grassroots perspective, which encompasses the views and our needs, aspirations of individuals, and the communities at their local level. We're going to chat about how we can help each and other on the local level. So empowering boys with accountability. The website is WVSW Radio, the internet station, 23.wit.com. Chat with the host. Go to StreamYard.com. The link is GEV6EUZ-YRX. Share your opinions, stories, and examples live with me and the world by going to C2, which is WVSW Radio, it's Dr. Lorinda D. Smith, Facebook, Bigo Live, TikTok Live, that's on the Dr. L.D. Alberto Smith. And again, our second Facebook, we actually got 3 channels. Facebook channel is Zeta Phi Sigma Grima. And then we have real opportunity we're going to be looking at on Facebook. We're talking about sports. The 5-Star Sports Academy is now allowing us to broadcast them as well on their network. So thank you so much. So we're just thanking radio.com. You have an opportunity to check us out on WBSW Radio, the internet station 23, Riverside FM, Dr. Lorenza D. Smith, and Anthony Lorenza D. Alberto Smith, you'll probably receive, or WBSW Radio, Super Live, WBSW Radio, where we're focusing where our internet is a major part here. Tango.com, which is WBSW-radio-14059. Then we got Twit at Dr. L. Alberto 2017. And YouTube, 2 channels operating, which is Dr. Lorenza D. Alberto Smith and the Smith Way Enterprise. I opened that episode. You can check them out by going to Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Snitchers, Pandora, Spotify, and Amazon Podcast, operated by Podserve FM. And you can type in WVSW Radio, and the information will populate, and you can check out audio only, our on-demand episode. WVSW Radio, the number one internet station. We're excited because we have listeners and watchers in 60 countries and on 6 continents. Register for WVSW Radio giveaways by sending your name with a means of transaction. Your means of transaction, you're going to send along with your name is either Bitcoin, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle. You can send me to Lorenzo D. Smith15@gmail.com. You probably ask yourself, why don't you just send that? First of all, you're sending that because you have an opportunity to register for the giveaways that we have on WPSW. Not only just give away gifts and hotel stays and book bags and car wash and along with movie passes and many other novelties, Greek payroll, college professional payroll, we give away money. We want you to be able to do it. to be able to give back. It's our love offering from $5 to $150. So make sure you register. Put your name in along with the transaction. You can email LorenzoDSmith15@gmail.com, or if you're on a social media site, you can type in exactly under your name what you want to have and what is your means of transaction, so we can include you in the giveaway. We can include you in the love offering. As we move forward today, we got a lot we want to be able to cover. We got to make sure we stay focused on what we need to. And we mentioned about giving. We would like for you to sow a seed with WBSW radio station by sending a like. Hit the like button. If you're on here now, hit the like button. I really would appreciate you doing that. By hitting the like button, it gives us a chance to build about clear understanding of how many people are supporting people at this time. Just hit the like button. We really appreciate you doing that. So let's make that happen. We're depending on you. WBSW Radio asks you to show support by monetizing with the radio station through Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Big O Live, Super Live, Tango, Twitch, YouTube, several channels we have in YouTube, Facebook. So truly we want to thank you so much for showing your support. Now, as we move to our title for today, and as we said, you want to monetize, you have an opportunity. You want to cash out, we fine. That's $ LORENZA, D as in David, SMIT. Lorenza D. Smith with the $. Empowering boys with accountability. And I think this is something we really need to take an opportunity and focus on because not only that we're trying to empower boys, we're empowering men, we're empowering whoever wants to be empowered with accountability. See, with accountability comes responsibility. And we have to step forward and understand why we need to be held accountable for our actions. Some of us have a tendency when things don't go our way, we want to blame others because it didn't happen. But the truth of the matter, be realistic. You are accountable for your action. So what we're teaching the boys and sharing with you so you can share with your boys some ways to do it, but understanding what it means. What does it mean to be accountable for your action? Better known as accountability for you as a person. As we look forth at the information, the term accountability relates to responsibility, but refers to the accepting of your responsible action. You're responsible for your action. You have to be responsible for being honest and the ethical conduct toward others. We have to truly dig down and think about accountability. See, if you're working in a corporation, this corporate world, see, a company, accountability extends to shareholders, employees, and a wider community in which it operates. So you have to be responsible and accountable. See, the quality or state of being accountable, especially an obligation or willingness to accept responsibility or to account for one's action. So you're responsible for your action. No one else is responsible for your action. A lot of us quick to say someone else is responsible. No, you are responsible for everything you do. You're responsible for what you say. And as we know, there's different degrees how powerful things are now. But people tell you words are mighty powerful. What comes out of your mouth can destroy someone. What comes out of your mouth put people in a bad position. Now you have to accept the responsibility that I said that it caused it. So when we're looking at our actions, we have to be ready to deal with as a responsibility. See, someone who's accountable is completely responsible. They are completely responsible for what they do, and they must be able to give a satisfactory reason for why they did it. Why did you take that action? To be accountable, you explain why. And I was speaking with a gentleman the other day, and I was just talking about me being one of them that really press for us at this time to become more inclined to reform our education system. I said, we need to focus on. I want you to make sure, just like it says, stakeholders need to come to the table. And let's talk about it. Every stakeholder who plays a role in making education great. We have to have options for our individuals to be able to succeed at as high a level. We must be able to identify what we need to do. They always want to say, how are you going to hold those accountable? You hold them accountable because whatever plan they put forth, you must have checkpoints. At them checkpoints, you see where you are. They'll be seeing where they are, and you'll be seeing where they are. See, now we got people being held accountable. Now you can truly say that they are completely responsible for what they accepted or what they are doing. So when you're talking truly about reforming, adjusting, making changes, you have to understand when you make the changes, you are to be held accountable for making those changes. So if you're in a company, you're a managing director, and you are handling sales or marketing, or when you sell and the sales are falling, you need to be held accountable. One of the things they're getting in education, something that you should get away been doing in the past, traditional, be more conventional now. They're holding whoever's in charge with what the failure is. You can look at athletics when they play, and we're talking about football and whatever it may be, college football. This past week, the last 2 weeks, or maybe 3 weeks, we had over 6 or 7 Power 4 coaches fired. Coaches making $11 million, $12 million. They're now being held accountable for where they did not perform to the level they should. Even if they've been there, they just haven't been consistently where they reached this point where they can get over the hump. Holding them accountable. We can't be afraid to hold each other accountable. So we're teaching our boys to be responsible. We're teaching them to be accountable. So when we empower them to understand what the meaning is, which is referring to acceptance for our responsibility for honest and ethical conduct toward others. You are accountable. You are responsible for your action. No one else can be held accountable for your action. So as we move forward, we have to take time and focus on why accountability is important. That's one of the questions when people are talking about why it's so important, particularly with our young men and our boys that are coming up ready to bridge the gap into manhood. See, accountability makes you realize by highlighting your goals and effectively enforcing you to best prepare yourself for the future. We're talking about preparing our boys to be impactful men. We prepare them now so when they get out and bridge that gap and step into manhood, they can say, I am responsible and I will assume my responsibility. See, it's important because, again, when you teach them to become responsible, you're teaching them to assume responsibility. You're also teaching them to hold themselves accountable for their actions. Really, you're teaching them to accept personal responsibility, but also by accepting accountability and responsibility, they'll be willing more so to take on personal challenges because they know how to hold themselves in count. So the title again is Empowering Boys with Accountability. We have to be able to look at the situation and say, these are some 5 important points that we want to teach our boys about accountability. We can call this framework of building the accountability and responsibility for our boys. They put them in the form of C's. The first C is clarity. See, when you accept something and it is some job or responsibility you accept, find out exactly what you need to do. Get clarity by asking whoever put you in that position to do that job. So you must have clarity. See, clarity involves setting clear, specific, and understandable goals, roles, and expectations. See, that's just like in a relationship. We all have roles, duties, and responsibilities. If we want to be successful, we have to accept it. If you don't, then you don't. We afford what we call long-term, committed, successful, healthy relationship. You're afforded what we call a quick, 2-point, get it over, early, no commitment relationship. So your ideal is to make sure there's clarity. That's why in a relationship, when you're going through the social stage and get to the acquaintance stage, you're able to be intentional. See, your intention, whatever I'm intending to do, or whatever my intentions are, is my clarity. Because now I'm setting clear, specific, and understandable goals and expectations. The next one is commitment. Do you want to be committed? Or you can't be committed? You want something long term, but you need to be committed. So we're teaching our boys, if you say you're going to do it, you have to make the greatest effort to do it. We're not saying everything they say they're going to do, they're going to be succeeding. Our key is to have the effort. When you commit, you put the work in. You commit, the effort in. Commit, you put the time in. Commit, you give all so you can be successful in whatever goals you have set, what role you will take upon, what expectations are there. Don't let them be unrealistic expectations. We have to be careful about setting expectations for others. We expect them to do that. Is there some kind of clear, concise clarity to what the goal that you're supposed to accomplish? Teaching our boys to be committed, teaching our boys effective, honest, and open communication. Teaching our boys that communication starts with active listening, being able to hear or being able to be quiet long enough to hear what someone has to say. Many times you see through panel discussions and even national people that are leading our country can't have a simple conversation without cutting the other person. That's because they lack the communication skills, the skills that are needed to be successful. They don't have active listening skills because they hadn't learned to discipline themselves to wait until the individual finishes so you can get the clear understanding of what they're saying. Instead, you don't want the clear understanding because that's why you disrupt them. Communication effectively is very important. Collaboration, teaching our boys to work together, whether it's in a team setting, whether it's in a group setting, knowing how to collaborate with the people around you. Spend time showing and modeling collaboration. Allow them to shadow you so they can see you working with others. Collaboration. Consequences. Every action requires a reaction, and there are consequences come along. Too many times we figure we're going to do something. That's why we can't have the conversation to be effective communicators, because we don't want to hear what we've done. That means we have to be an acceptance of our responsibility and our accountability. And the consequences come. It comes in a manner where it puts you in a position you might not be comfortable with. So we're teaching our boys that for every action, there's a consequence for it. It could be a positive or a negative, but there's consequences. Every action you take, you should be held accountable for it, because your consequences will do that. Let's repeat those consequences: collaboration, communication, commitment, and clarity. Let's teach our boys those things so they can understand accountability. Next, we want to know what are ways that we can teach boys accountability and responsibility. First of all, we have to encourage kids to take on challenges. Encourage our boys to take on challenges. Encourage our girls to take on challenges. Now you can see how you will respond to a challenge that requires you to be accountable and responsible. That way, we have to allow them to make mistakes, because we all make mistakes. Accountability puts you in a position that if I make a mistake, I'm going to learn from it and use it to not make the same mistake in the future. Allow natural consequences, because there's always a consequence for your action. And they come in all forms. They can be natural consequences, or it can be where people come up with some form of consequence and punishment. Man-made. Teach reflection skills. Teach your boys to go back and reflect and think about what happened. Again, you're working with the pros and cons chart. This is what happened. We did this today. What was the positive part? What was the negative part? That's reflection. That way, that skill will allow boys to be able to address accountability or their action. Discourage blaming and excuse making. Let your boys know that if something happened and you were there as part of it, don't blame somebody else for it. Accept your responsibility, then move toward what? Correcting what has happened. Don't have a whole lot of excuses why it didn't go. Maybe you didn't plan well. Maybe you didn't take time to do what you're supposed to do. Instead, you was in a hurry to get done. Now you're going to be held accountable to the consequences may not be what you want in the results. Teach our boys to not blame us and make excuses. Help them to set goals, realistic goals. That way they can be successful in accomplishing those goals. Then they can have a story and they can have them to track their progress. Write down what happened and what was the progress. Journal what you're doing. Take time to understand It's important that we teach our boys to be accountable and responsible. This is WGSW Radio, the #1 internet station. I'm excited about bringing this topic today, empowering boys with accountability, along with responsibility as well, teaching them how to deal with it, what their income, what that, you know what I'm saying, what the outcome, what has happened, whatever you put in and what you're going to get out. This is what we want to teach our boys. That also leads us to what are the pillars of accountability that boys must know to be successful. See, the pillars is normally going to be foundations for your success. As we teach our boys through boyhood and bridge the gap into manhood, the pillars are going to be available for us to show them exactly how they can be accountable, how they can be responsible, how they can be accountable. Those pillars start off in Arthur Greg Busky said, one pillar is character. Good character is important. See, our school, we teach character education. There are only 5 pillars or 5 words of importance that you teach throughout the semester. One is teaching about character. You're accountable for who you are and who you are. You're accountable for your actions. Your character means a lot. Unity. Teach our boys to work together. They must unify as a team to be successful. Could be on a project in class. Could be groups in class. Could be a team within your academic setting. But also, when they're part of a team, understand that they are a major part of their team. When one of those spokes break, the whole tie bicycle tie will break and it won't ride. Teach them that once no air is in your tire, your car won't move. If you do, you're going to roll on the rim eventually, and you're going to tear up a tire, and you got to take your tire and the damage to the rim. Teach them that unification is important. Learning is the next pillar. We must prepare our boys to be impactful men. Through boyhood, we must stress that they focus on accomplishing the many basic tools and the foundation of education to be successful, a foundation of learning to be successful in life. You know, many years ago, a long time ago, probably since the 70s or late 80s or something, one nearly born at that time, but they used to have a thing. You had still out on the gun and somebody was teaching them the 3 R's. Read, write, and literacy. Those 3 will allow you to bridge the gap from boyhood to manhood in a position where you can be mature enough to now or stable enough to learn the next step. Learning is important. Tracking, whatever you're doing, noting the success and also the unsuccessful moment. Urgency, how urgent are you? Do you move at a slow pace or a snail pace? When you move to get some jobs done, always saying, talk about people always talking about multitasking. Always saying you can multitask, but did you do one thing that you're supposed to have done correctly? Urgency, reputation means something. Let my work speak for me. Let it lead me. So when I come to a room at work, I have done, my reputation leads me. And then you have evolution. This is really important. You evolve from boyhood to manhood. The skills, the foundation, the principles, the belief, and all the things that build you and train you as a boy will go with you into manhood. And we must really focus on understanding the principles of building a culture where we use these pillars of accountability, teaching our boys to understand that to lead means you have to be able to follow. So when you're talking about leading, you would have to be in a position to take ownership when things don't go how you think it's supposed to. When things fail, you take ownership, meaning responsibility and accountability. It fosters integrity because people see that you put your greatest effort forward by taking ownership instead of blaming someone else. This drives performance. And when you drive performance through taking ownership, fostering integrity, it leads to a sharp, or in essence, a mindset of growth and teamwork. This is what we're trying. These are pillars that allow us to do some magnificent things. The pillars of accountability that boys must know to be successful. As we move forward, we want to take each one of our pillars and give you a breakdown. Character, acting with integrity, and making ethical decisions. Unity, working together as a unified team toward a common goal. Learning, being open to new information and focus on continuous improvement. Tracking, monitoring progress and performance to stay on track. Urgency, acting with a sense of purpose, meaning, and immediacy. Reputation, understanding the action, reflecting on the organization, on your family, and individuals. Evolution, adapting and growing to meet needs in the form of challenges and opportunities. These pillars are there to help boys elevate into manhood. Boys to bridge the gap to manhood, especially in the area of accountability and responsibility. That leads us to understanding, having a discussion to get clear understanding on what happened when boys lack accountability. See, when boys lack accountability, they may struggle with emotional and social development. We want to be stable emotionally. We want to be mature. We ought to be able to handle things without allowing our feelings to get in the way. We can respond with thinking and believing. So if we lack accountability, blaming others, then we're not going to be emotionally or socially developed like we should. We're going to have difficulty taking responsibility and face negative consequences in relationships in our future careers because we're not willing to take responsibility. We're not really willing to hold ourselves accountable for our actions. So we get caught up in the blame game because that's what it manifests to, what we call blame shifting. Not me, it's him. Not me, it's her. Never is, it was me. I got to do a better job. We have poor self-regulation when we lack accountability. An inability to learn from our mistakes. That's why you document and write down pros and cons of what happened, and you take and learn something from that. Sometimes we see it, we can respond to it greater. So we're teaching our boys that when you are not willing to be accountable, then you're going to blame others. You're not going to be able to regulate yourself. You're going to be out of control. Your emotional aspects are going to be out of control. Your social development will be affected. The inability, again, to learn from your mistakes. You're going to have challenges. It leads to conflict. You're not going to be able to reduce resilience. And a lot of times you will have a tendency to avoid facing the consequences of your action. You're not able to be accountable or responsible. You don't want to face the consequences. But there are consequences, whether they're positive or negative. That leads us to short-term and long-term impact. When we just said emotional and social development. See, the lack of accountability can hinder the development of resiliency, problem-solving skills. See, as individuals are less likely to learn from their mistake, it can lead to increased conflict with peers, family, friends, co-workers, because you're not able to handle accountability. You lack it. And then you're going to have a challenge or difficulties self-regulating. You be in your emotion, you be in your feelings, and the consequence is not going to be positive. Relationship challenges, the inability to take responsibility can cause reoccurrence, disharmony, meaning you can't be at peace in your life or your relationship. See, as people are not being held to their commitment, leads to exhaustion and resentment. Personal, professional life. We want to prepare our boys so they move into adulthood for their personal and professional life. See, they lack accountability in adulthood. This can result in the lack of self-discipline, not doing what you're supposed to do, blaming others. You fail at achieving goals, and a tendency to avoid responsibility. It can also lead to poor performance at work due to missed deadlines and a failure to meet quality standards, as well as a reputation for being untrustworthy. Is that you? Do you want that to be you? Then you make it model positive behavior patterns. Do not play the blame game and allow your boys to see that. That's a lack of accountability. Don't get in the situation of being avoidance or defensiveness. See, when individuals become defensive and angry, they confrontation. Maybe they take it to another level. Truth of the matter, they have developed thinking errors They have developed thinking errors to avoid taking responsibility for their actions. Core work ethics. We want to show out and teach our boys that procrastination should be a part of your work ethics. You should always complete tasks with quality work, not poor work. You don't want to show a lack of future-oriented thinking. In a critical thinking society, you want to show that you're willing to think about how you can adjust this project that you have before you. Create a sense of entitlement. See, when you have negative behavior and patterns, which is met with excuses rather than consequences. See, it sends the message to your co-worker, your family, your friend, in your relationship, that they can get away with making mistakes. The impact of boundaries, firm but fair. Boundaries are essential to teaching accountability. We want to teach our children and our boys to know they're accountable for their actions. See, when they're not held accountable, they do not learn to self-regulate or understand the impact of their choices. This requires work. Are you willing to put the work in to teach our boys or empower our boys with accountability and responsibility? We're calling upon you to do that. I'm not saying you can't do it, but we're doing a series and we're going to continue to talk about empowering, teaching, developing, preparing, getting our boys ready to be impactful leaders, which brings a positive future. That's what this is all about. This is WDSW Radio, the #1 internet station. I'm Dr. Lewis C. Smith. It's always exciting coming for you where we can share something of importance. I truly hope this helps you with our title, Empowering Boys with Accountability. Hopefully, it can help you truly have a blessed rest of the evening. I want to tell you I love each and every one of you all from my heart. And I want you to understand that we must model positivity. We must model productivity so our boys can see what manhood looks like. The excitement of going to manhood once they bridge their gap. Not thinking that making it 25, I made it. No, we want them to excel into manhood, be impactful, be productive, by understanding they're accountable for their action. A lot of responsibility is going to be placed on them. But you have to be willing to put the work in, the time in, so you can be successful. And your family can be successful. That's the idea of the day. So I want you truly to be blessed, take care of yourself, and say it as many times as possible, because God has been so good to us and blessed us with a top of the day that hopefully it helps you, but also put you in a position to empower boys with accountability as well as responsibility. Take care of yourself. As I say, I love each and every one of you all from my heart. And we'll see you tomorrow. I think our show is at 6:30. Yes, 6:30 tomorrow. It was our sports talk show. Talking sports plus prime time. Hopefully we can get a few of our guests to come on with co-hosts to come back. I know they've been busy and they'll share their thoughts about tonight is a major night for the college football playoff rankings. We'll see in the first week who's in position and whether they can stay in the position to be successful. But with this channel, WDSW Radio, the #1 internet station, each and every one of you all, I want to thank you. Hit the like button while you're still here, while you're still supporting us. Hit the like button, and we'll definitely will see you tomorrow. I just want you to take care of yourself, and we'll talk then. And as we get ready to get out of here, we always like to leave our theme. This is our theme. This is our theme. Hard work and dedication. For our boys to be impactful men, teach them what hard work looks like. Show them, what it looks like. Teach them what hard work is. And what dedication does for us as individuals. Be blessed. Be safe. We'll see you tomorrow. Because I love you, and ain't a thing you can do about it. Take care of yourself.
Dedication. You know, you stronger than you know. Believe in yourself.